So, hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Mindfulness and Resilience Practices class. We are your hosts. I'm Frank, and I'm here with Vivian. Hi, Vivian.
Hello, Frank. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Let me get my pointer in the right place. This month's theme has been Genuocity, a word we made up. And we do that because we're poets, not because we're losing our minds. Well, we might be losing our minds too. Anyway, we did it on purpose. It wasn't confabulation. I have to say that these days for reasons. Anyway, so it was Genuocity. Tonight used to be called Q&A. But we decided, Vivian came up with this, ask us anything, because really you can ask us anything. So we're going to have a shorter practice than usual and a shorter discussion at the start of the class so that we have more time to answer any questions you have or to hear any comments you have, because we always feel like we don't have enough time for that in the ongoing class. So with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Vivian.
Thanks, Frank.
Vivian, take it away.
Thank you. And so this month we started off talking about what we called Amness, how to be. And really that was a reflection on how we present in the world by virtue of the fact that we don't usually think too much about, other than being self-conscious at times, we don't think too much about how we're presenting and what we're choosing to bring forward. And so that was a week of reflection on what does it mean to be and how are we presenting? And then we talked about vulnerability, and Frank shared the definition of vulnerability, which is not coming to mind right this moment. But Frank, do you want
It's an open... I know when we put this slide together, we go, yeah, what did we talk about this month? Because that was last couple of weeks. Vulnerability in terms of like openness, that it is a valuable ability that typically, especially in American culture, is like you're supposed to protect yourself against being vulnerable, because that means you can be attacked. And this other way of relating to vulnerability that's heavily influenced by Brene Brown, and the notion that if we embrace vulnerability, we actually become stronger and more connected with people and with ourselves.
Thank you, Frank. And then we moved on to authenticity, where we were talking about how do we allow our full self to be here, and also reflecting on the fact that it's a never-ending process of moment-to-moment decisions that we make of how open we want to be in a particular circumstance, how safe it is, and evaluating all the various variables that come into deciding how authentic we want to be in a particular situation, and knowing that all comes with practice. And then last week, Frank spoke about equanimity. And Frank, did you want to give the synopsis on equanimity?
Equanimity is, I think of it as being with things the way they are, which is similar to acceptance, but equanimity is like a quiet, it doesn't have to be quiet, a level state of mind, a balanced state of mind, easeful state of mind, at peace. And part of that is acceptance that reality is the way it is, excuse me, whether I'd like it or not. So cultivating equanimity is a way of feeling more at ease in life.
Yeah, and for me, I just want to ask, is it okay to also use the word allow? So sometimes we don't necessarily have to accept it, but allow it to be. And sometimes equanimity involves an act of letting go. Just release like the grip you have on it. That's not an emoji thing. That's not an active. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I apparently not. So we were discovering that Zoom has some hand activated reactions, but we only got to activate once. So we'll have to practice.
Yes. So,
We'll have to play with it some
right?
more.
Yes. And you guys are all welcome to get on video if you want to and teach us
Play along.
if you have some active, I don't know what they're called, active emoticon skills. Okay, so that was it for the topics. And, we, like Frank said, you're more than welcome to ask questions about what we covered over the course of this month. Once we get into that near the second half of our time together. But for now, we're going to move into a practice period. And we invite you to get very comfortable with this practice in a comfortable posture. You don't have to be, sitting upright and rigid. If it's more comfortable for you to lay down and listen to the prompts, you're welcome to do that. If you want to do it in movement, you're welcome to do that. Your eyes can be open or closed as you do this. What I want you to explore with the eyes open is check in to see which one happens to be in this moment more distracting. So sometimes when we close our eyes, that's when we start, having a lot of visual imagery coming through. And sometimes it's when our eyes are open, we're taking note of everything. And so pick the least distracting of the two. I invite you to listen to my voice. I'll be offering up the prompts. There'll be periods of silence here and there in between the prompts, and that's to give you some time to take in what I said, reflect and see how it absorbs, and then experiment with it a little bit and see what happens. Because the practice is one of just noticing what is happening as you cultivate as gentle and as friendly and as a curious attitude toward whatever is happening. Because from the perspective of mindfulness, there is no wrong experience. There's no specific experience that should be happening in this particular technique. It's really a noting and taking stock of what's here. Recognizing that some things might be very pleasant, some might be neither pleasant nor unpleasant, and some might be unpleasant, but at the same time, knowing that you always have choice to turn towards the things that are more pleasant or neutral and turn away from those that are unpleasant if you want to. Of course, beyond that, you can always stop if you need to or just want to. This recording is going to be available for you to revisit this practice as many times as you need once we have it up. And so, please don't feel like if this isn't for you tonight, this particular practice, I invite you to either stop altogether or shift to a practice that feels more nourishing today. So with that, I invite you to stretch. Give your body a nice stretch and settle in. We do this particular practice from a relaxed state of being. So I invite you to take note of the shoulders and relax those shoulders, letting them to melt down. Check in with the stomach, the face, the hands, the legs. Let the eyes fall back into the sockets if your eyes are closed. Do your best to let go of any tension you notice in the body. And the way we can do this is by actually tensing the area, holding it in that way for a bit, and then releasing and noting the difference. So if you want to release some tension in the shoulders, you can raise your shoulders up high, scrunching them as high up to your ears as you can, and maybe even shifting around a little bit. Holding, noticing that there's like movement, jittering happening when you do that, and then release. Rolling the shoulders back. noticing what that's like. You can do this at the belly as well, clenching the belly in as tight as you can for whatever duration feels comfortable, and then just release and notice what that feels like. Maybe breathing in a little more deeply, inviting some relaxation on the exhale. Scrunching up the face, like you just tasted the most sour thing possible. Scrunching the eyes and the lips and the cheeks. And then releasing. Making fists with your hands. Holding tight, tighter. Notice how far up the arm you can actually feel the tension from the fist. And then releasing. Doing the same with the toes and the feet. Either flexing the feet or pointing the toes, whatever feels comfortable. Holding that tension and noticing it. And then releasing. Taking a few deep breaths here. Maybe even sighing on the exhale. And now checking into the body to notice if are there any areas at all that are restful? Any places that feel neutral, where not much is happening? Noticing any places that actually feel good. Now as I begin to guide, I'll be offering some reflections and some affirmations, and you're welcome to just repeat those affirmations to yourself during the time of silence. And the way we do that, we can do it fully out loud in our normal voice, but we're listening to ourselves as we're doing it. Or you can say them softly to yourself. Again, continuing to stay very close and noticing how it feels to be saying it, or you can say it in your mind, whatever feels most comfortable and most supportive. Just wanted to offer up as options. We are here sitting or laying down or standing, solid as a mountain, firm as the earth. The day's work is done. Reflecting on however skillful or unskillful any of our actions were today. Recognizing I did the best that I could under the conditions and circumstances and the skills that I have in this moment, with the understanding and information that I have in this moment. So I vow to continue to learn and grow. I recognize I'm responsible for my own actions. And as you reflect on this, taking in some deep breaths in and out, holding the intention of greater growth and understanding. With the affirmation, I own my actions. And every day we open up and bloom like a flower. I come to each experience with freshness and see my experiences with new eyes. Though I don't necessarily control the thoughts and feelings that might come up, I can tend to them as I would a beautiful garden of flowers. And I vow to take care of these thoughts and feelings with compassion and understanding. And breathing as you hold the intention to bring more compassion and understanding into view, into your life. With the affirmation of, I own the energy and attention that I give my thoughts, feelings, and experiences. I own the energy and attention of thoughts, feelings, and experiences. And we all hold the deep intention to find a true source of happiness. We can recognize that things are as they are. There's only so much influence we can have over circumstances we find ourselves in. Can I be with them just as they are? Can I access the happiness of this present moment just as it is? Can I access any gratitude for this moment, just as it is? I'm beginning to take a few intentional breaths, holding that intention to be with life just as it is. May I find a true source of happiness. And recognizing with each moment, we do have a choice to meet it with this freshness, with these new eyes and ways of seeing, speak new words, have new thoughts, fresh thoughts, opening up to all the sounds and smells that surround us. These senses are what connect us to each other, to the world, to the fullness of this experience. May I find peace exactly as I am, wherever I find myself to be, wherever I am. May I experience peace as I am, where I am. And breathing, holding that intention for greater peace. And if you've experienced something today that was challenging or painful, or if the practice is bringing forward something like that, take note that it all is in the past, and in this moment, there is relative safety. And see if you can give yourself over to this ease in this moment, to this safety, to this practice. Gently offer yourself a bit of kindness, some reassurance, some honest words. Recognizing things are as they are, and if whatever is that's here happens to be challenging, then you can add the affirmation of, may I one day be with things just as they are, even if they seem so difficult in this moment. For whatever I'm feeling, whatever thoughts I'm having in this moment that may be challenging, may I hold this too with kindness. May I one day be with things just as they are. Remembering to breathe, Holding the intention of greater allowance, greater equanimity, and acceptance. May I one day be with things just as they are. And now, offering yourself a little bit of gratitude and affirmation that you would take this time that could be spent doing an infinite number of other things, but dedicating this time to practice and supporting your well-being, knowing that even though we gain personal benefit from these practices, the effects of and the fruits of our practice touch all the people that we come into contact with, all the beings that we come into contact with, in our being kinder, gentler, maybe more patient or more generous in our time or our choice of words. So while we definitely benefit, those around us also benefit. Now taking in a deep breath and exhaling out. Doing it with a sigh if that feels comfortable. Doing it a couple of more times. And as we begin to shift our period of practice, becoming aware of the space that you're in, focusing the eyes from a distance to things that are close and around, moving, stretching, yawning, smiling, frowning, scowling, whatever is needed in this moment. Do it. And thank you all for your practice period. I want to share a quote that I came across from Dr. Gabor Mete. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he does brilliant work on trauma and defining what that is. And I don't know if we made it clear over the course of the month, but one of the things I really want to crystallize as we round out this month is that everything that builds our personality at one point served us. And as we talk about being vulnerable and authenticity and who we are, the idea is that we can embrace all of it, even the stuff that we're looking at, like, why am I still this way? Or why did I react this way? And sometimes we catch ourselves reacting in ways that are like outside of what we would want for ourselves or for the people that are on the receiving end of what we're offering. But I saw this quote and I thought of us and of what we've been doing for this month. And it's, once we've adopted a survival mechanism, it's not easy to get rid of. It becomes a habit. Not being authentic becomes a habit. And so I was like, yes, it's not about tossing aside what we know. It's about really shining a light on who we are, how we're presenting out here, and what we want to keep.
Yeah, we were using the word acceptance, and I'm forgetting you offered up another allow. And I also think
Allow.
of the term embrace, which is so demanding, right? But it's sort of like allow yourself to be you, or accept that you are who you are. Those can be challenging, but embrace who you are is really, really challenging. And I think the benefit of embrace who you are is I think of so much of what we pursue in these practices as is it aspirational? Like I may never get there, but being in pursuit, heading in that direction, benefits me and benefits people around me and benefits the world. And so I may never be able to embrace myself, but I really like the practice of trying, in part because when you try, it can reveal those places where it really is a challenge. And those are places that are worth exploring, unpacking, deconstructing, like, how did those places come to be? Why do I have the attitude or the relationship I have toward those places or those aspects of me? And what would it take to be able to allow or accept or embrace those aspects of me?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it hasn't been necessarily the easiest path. Like the path itself hasn't been, it's involved a lot of tears and difficult emotions, I'll be honest. But do I regret it? No, because it has built on itself. But yeah, it's
And
not
it's
the
worthwhile.
easiest.
It's worthwhile.
What I was, mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't get to experience the worthwhileness soon enough,
Mm,
which is unfortunate because sometimes people don't keep practicing or pursuing it because of some unpleasant aspect on the road. But I would say it's always worth.
one of the pieces of advice that, oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
Frank, I didn't mean to speak over you. I got a thought. Like so many thoughts come through when you share, but one of them was from one of my teachers, Shinzen Young, would tell us, mindfulness meditation isn't a quick fix, but it's a deep fix.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry if anybody thought it would be a quick fix.
How are we going
Please
to
come
create
back.
some kind of pyramid scheme if we can't promise people it's a quick fix?
And then there's the head, there's all this headgear that they're selling now that you can use to send electrical impulses to different parts of your brain to help stimulate. Actually, Shinzen is doing a lot of research to kind of target the part of the brain at the University of Arizona. They're doing this research where they target particular parts of the brain that'll induce equanimity. And it'll just fire it up. We're a far cry from that, but we are getting there. But in the meantime, we have meditation, mindfulness, all these practices.
And the nice thing about these practices is that we don't need equipment, right? Because I used to love technology, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or because I've seen or experienced too many of the lies that technology says we're going to make life easier, and then you find out that there are people for whom technology is designed to make life easier, and they're billionaires. So the nice thing about these practices is you don't need equipment. You don't have to buy anything. You can do it in the privacy of your own mind, wherever you are.